Welcome to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. Glad you're with us tonight. It is a warm evening here in Los Angeles. Again, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. And Troy, it is incumbent upon any team that's playing the Rams to control the football. Keep that Ram offense on the sideline, and the Vikings have got to run the ball better here tonight.
Well, they come into this game, they've thrown the ball on 72% of their offensive snaps, which is the highest in the NFL, and that's not the formula that Mike Zimmer wants. He wants to run the football and then, of course, play better defense than what we've seen here in recent games. So I think what helps them certainly is the ability of Dalvin Cook to come back after last week, try to control the line of scrimmage. They're going to have their work cut out for them. Not easy to run the football against this Los Angeles Rams defensive front, but that's going to be important if they're going to keep Kirk Cousins upright and allow him to make some plays.
Take you down to the field and give you a look at tonight's officials. Brad Allen is our referee tonight. And I don't think we have ever had a season where we have talked more about officiating in the NFL than we have here in 2018. As we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth, and Mike Pereira joins us. And Mike, it's predominantly because of the roughing the passer calls that are up over double what they were through 3 weeks last year.
You and I talked about this last night, that the competition committee had to step up. They did. They had a 2-hour unscheduled meeting. I talked to Mr. Commissioner Roger Goodell before the game. He thinks great progress was made. Rule didn't change, but technique did. So if you're going to the ground, you have to attempt not to land on the opponent with all your body weight. Brace yourself is new language. Minimal body weight on top of the quarterback is new. So I really do think that they achieved what they wanted to, and I don't think we will see the type of calls we've seen in the past.
Well, let's hope, because there's just been too much of it, and it has had a direct effect at times on the winners and losers of games through 3 weeks. Spanish language broadcast available tonight on Fox Deportes. The Rams won the toss. They defer. Vikings will start tonight with the football, and we are glad you were with us on Fox in what should be a game that has implications later on in the year come January. And both teams hope with regard to playoff seeding. Ficken will kick it away. And the ball and the offense will come out to the 25-yard line for the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, a Pro Bowler while with the Washington Redskins. It's his first year as a Minnesota Viking, getting the $84 million deal, all guaranteed, and last week turned the ball over 3 times. The fumbles, they've been a problem. And, boy, they had him throwing the ball a lot, trying to gain ground against the Bills when they fell behind early.
Well, yeah, and they've had to throw the ball a lot here the last 2 weeks. They got behind against Green Bay, and then, like you said last week, very early, they were down a lot of points to Buffalo.
Dalvin Cook will start with the ball, and the Vikings are thrilled to have their second year back, healthy and ready to go. You know the story with Dalvin. Got off to a great start a year ago, and then in week 4, he tore his ACL, so had a chance to work his way back. He's coming off a pulled hamstring, did not play against the Bills. And even on the short week, here he is taking on the Rams. You saw that stat, just 14 rushing yards against Buffalo in that shocking loss at home. 2nd down and 4, and how Dalvin Cook made the defensive player miss. That was Marcus Peters who got through. A loss of 3. It could have been even worse. What a move by Cook.
Really fortunate on this. You can see Marcus Peters. He just looks like he's going in motion with the jet sweep action by Stephon Diggs, and he hits it. You see, here's a better look. Just nobody there, and that could have been a disaster if Marcus Peters had met him right at the mesh point. Instead, he kind of went more for Kirk Cousins.
Murray in there now on 3rd down and 7. Cousins, feeling, catch is made, and a 1st down is picked up. Working on Nickel Roby-Coleman, and Adam Thielen, who's off to a terrific start, gets 8 and a 1st down.
Well, an excellent job of protection up front, first and foremost, and this is an offensive line that has certainly been challenged, to say the least. Riley Reef, their left tackle, coming off a very tough afternoon last Sunday, but on a big third down to be able to have some time in the pocket and deliver a strike.
See that stat. He is the best in the league since the start of last year on third down. Whether it was Keenum or Cousins. Cousins out to his left, dumps it off for C.J. Ham. And the fullback gets a couple of big hits across the 40, got 6. And LaMarcus Joyner, who is one of the smallest safeties you'll find at any level, 5'8", 191, is in there to deliver the final hit.
He's an important part of this defense. They franchised him this year, and a guy who was more or less their nickel corner until Wade Phillips came in last year and made him a safety. He loves the position, and he has really thrived. He's not that big, as you said, Joe, but he'll come up and he'll hit you, and he's got tremendous range on the back end.
2nd down and 4. A ton of Viking fans in attendance here in L.A. Play action from Cousins. Fires to the sideline for Thielen. And Thielen to the Rams 42. A completion of 16 yards as he threw it over John Johnson into the waiting arms of number 19.
Well, it shows you the confidence that he has in Thielen, and that's a great throw in order to get it over John Johnson and then drop it in front of Marcus Peters. That's awfully good right there. He had Laquan Treadwell on a dig route, an 18-yard square in with nobody on him, but his confidence certainly much higher with the connection with Thielen.
Good possession so far for the Vikings. Here's Cook. Backward he goes. And a loss of 3 as Ramik Wilson makes the stop, playing for the injured Mark Barron. Tonight's Precision Players to Watch, presented by Gillette. No surprise. Kirk Cousins on the left, the Vikings quarterback, and the guy who chases him down better than really any interior defensive lineman, Aaron Donald, on the right.
Well, Aaron Donald hopes he gets to know Kirk Cousins very well tonight, and Kirk hopes that they don't even get to have a handshake. We'll see how this goes.
2nd down and 13. Quick setup and throw, and there's Treadwell. Treadwell to the 26, and a nice grab by a guy who's had a rough start, and time is running out for the former first-round pick out of Ole Miss. That's a good catch by him.
It is, and it's a good release off the line of scrimmage. You know, he's a big guy, and he did a lot of good things in college, but it just hasn't translated up to this point. Similar balls like this against Green Bay, he was unable to catch, one of which ended up being an interception at a critical point in the ball game. And you're right, Mike Zimmer, he made no bones about it yesterday when we visited with him. He said he's getting a little tired of what's happened with Treadwell, so that's a good way to stay out of the doghouse.
Here's a handoff to Cook. Again, a Ram player was there almost for the handoff, a gain of 7. And you talk about quick off the ball. Let's see who flashed through. Ethan Westbrooks came through and had his arms on Cousins as he was handing it to Cook.
Well, I can tell you as a quarterback, you're not expecting to get hit on a handoff. And when you are, you're saying, holy moly, what the heck is going on up there? The right guard, Remmers, he doesn't take a good step, and you never turn somebody loose like that. It was either Remmers or the center, Pat Elflein, who's making his first start tonight.
Here's one to Thielen out of his reach, and a 3rd and 3 coming up. And you can see the game plan here for John DeFilippo and this Minnesota Vikings offense, and in particular Cousins, is get rid of the football. I mean, it's 3 steps and gone.
There's John DeFilippo there, and first-year coordinator here in Minnesota takes over for Pat Shurmur, and yeah, he said, I've got to be more patient, got to stick with the running game, and we've got to get the ball out, especially early, and let this pass rush slow down as the game goes on.
10th play of the drive. Little trouble with a snap. Pass is caught. And with that little lunge at the end, Thielen's got yet another 3rd down catch and yet another Vikings first down.
Well, that's important. It's now a couple of 3rd downs, and you know they've been in manageable situations too many times. They've just gotten behind schedule and have had a lot of 3rd and longs, and you know you're not going to convert many of those, but On the 2 third downs here today, they've had good protection and have allowed Kirk Cousins to find the open man.
They've got a balanced, now long drive going to keep the Ram offense on the sideline. Cook, nowhere to go, lost half a yard. You think about this Rams team that was a playoff team from a year ago, and they went out and added Ndamukong Suh in the middle, Marcus Peters, a young 2-time Pro Bowl corner, and Aqib Talib, who's an all-pro. Talib, as I mentioned, on IR, but they added big pieces. They want to win, and they want to win this year.
Well, and the same goes for the Minnesota Vikings. Both these teams spent over $200 million in guaranteed money for 2018.
Cousins backpedaling, and that one's thrown back at him. Now it's 3rd down and 10. Thielen was the target. Cousins, who had an offensive coordinator by the name of Sean McVay in Washington, now the head coach with the Rams. A lot of mutual respect between those two.
Yeah, I thought it was great when Kirk Cousins said that Sean McVay had a belief in him in Washington before he even believed in himself. And a lot of what Kirk Cousins has become as a quarterback, he can attribute to Sean McVay.
Third down and 10. Cousins, end zone, flag, touchdown, Vikings, and Aldrick Robinson. But a flag is down on the play. The indication it's against Los Angeles. What a drive, what a catch, and welcome to the Vikings, Aldrick Robinson.
And Kirk Cousins.
Defense, number 93. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Aldrick Robinson, who was picked up after the Green Bay game. You see a perfectly thrown ball once again by Kirk Cousins. Marcus Peters is in a good position. He's saying there's no way that he can give up a touchdown based on where he is on the field, and yet Cousins is able to throw it right over the top of his extended hands, and he did that earlier to Peters, this time for 6 points.
Dan Bailey, one of the best in the business, longtime Dallas Cowboy, knocks through the extra point. They called a hold against Ndamukong Suh. This beauty dropped in to Robinson. And a quick touchdown on the road for the Vikings. Yarder to Aldrick Robinson, a new Viking, but it was the longest drive of the season time-wise, which is what they want to keep Goff and company on the sideline here for the Rams.
Well, a short week, and to be able to come out here on the road, and they flew in on Tuesday and against a good football team that's undefeated, that gives you a lot of confidence to start this ball game.
Lake Countess will take a knee. Out to the 25 it comes. Tomorrow on NFL Network, Troy Aikman will be on a treadmill somewhere in the world and waking up with what's been called the best morning show on sports television. Peter Schrager raves it's a can't miss as they catch up with Imagine Dragons Good Morning Football. Tomorrow at 7 only on NFL Network.
I've given that show and Peter Schrager more pub in the last 2 weeks.
Enough.
I ought to be on the payroll.
The numbers for Goff, off to a great start. He keeps out to his right, nowhere to go, and he throws it away with Brandon Cooks, the closest to it. Pressure, Troy, by Stephen Weatherly, and Weatherly is a guy that in the absence of Everson Griffin, who's been hospitalized following 2 incidents this past weekend and is undergoing mental evaluation. Weatherly's a guy that Mike Zimmer says is starting to figure it out. And if Zimmer says that, that means something.
No, you're right, because he doesn't sugarcoat anything. And his first start on Sunday against the Bills, he was outstanding. He had a sack, he had a tackle for a loss, and seven other tackles to go with it.
Here's Gurley. 3rd and long coming up. Danielle Hunter was in the middle of that for the Vikings. Sheldon Richardson as well. Well, the Rams, it's well documented. You've got the offensive player of the year right there from last year in Todd Gurley. You've got a good young quarterback, an inventive and creative head coach, the reigning defensive player of the year. And here's what they've done going back the last 3 years. What a jump. Talent has everything to do with it. 3rd down and 7.
And here in the early going, the Rams, they slow down the pace. They huddle. They typically are a fast break offense. Everything at the line.
Goff, Cooks, 1st down. Are you stunned like I am that Brandon Cooks keeps bouncing around the NFL?
I think the guy's one of the best receivers in all of football, and this is his 3rd team in 3 years. He's been traded twice already. You know, they traded him from the Saints, and then they traded him from New England. If I'm Breeze and Tom Brady, I'm not happy when this guy's leaving the building. He's exceptional, and I know Jared Goff. They lost Sammy Watkins from last year, but Brandon Cooks gives them a little more versatility.
Here's Kupp. And Kupp is going to hop out of bounds. Let's see where they mark him. With a gain of 10, he got a 1st down. Anthony Barr out there. I have a feeling that you would have liked to have played for a guy like Sean McVay. He goes to bed thinking about how he's going to fool the defense that coming week. This guy lives his job.
He's an exceptional coach. He's an exceptional teacher. And I think when you talk about great coaches, that's generally what it comes back to, is how good are they at teaching. And in addition to that, he's worked with some great coaches over the years, and he's creative. He does a heck of a job putting it together.
Goff with all day. Gurley out of the backfield's got great hands and a nice tackle by the rookie Mike Hughes. It was a gain of 6. It could have been much more. Todd Gurley can run it between the tackles, get outside, and catch the ball. He does it all.
He does do it all. And with Todd Gurley, you know, to follow up, when you think Sean McVay and you think the Rams, you think this explosive, high-powered passing attack, which certainly they're capable of doing that. But Todd Gurley, since the start of 2017, he's carried the ball more than anybody in football. So Sean McVay is a guy who believes in the running game first, and everything they do for the most part in the passing game is off of play action.
Play action again, and nothing there with Anthony Barr out in front of Brandon Cooks. If the question is, where were you in 1986? My answer is I was a junior in high school. That's Sean McVay, born January 24th in Dayton, Ohio. And his defensive coordinator is Wade Phillips, who was the Eagles defensive coordinator in '86.
I was on a beach in California at UCLA.
Life was good as Troy Aikman in the mid-'80s, let me tell you. 3rd down and 4. Goff floats it. Penalty flag. Play's not there. Out on the edge for Robert Woods.
They're going to get Xavier Rhodes with contact on.
Holding. Defense, number 29. 5-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
This is a matchup that's going to be worth watching throughout this game, because Xavier Rhodes is going to be traveling with Brandon Cooks. You see the contact, the hold that's occurring, and Xavier Rhodes is one of those corners that does go with the other team's best wide receiver. 2 weeks ago against Green Bay, it was Devontae Adams, and then last week it was Kelvin Benjamin in Buffalo. And that's for one of the best corners in football, facing what I believe is one of the best wide receivers. Let's see who wins that matchup.
Gurley, room to run, and then gets dragged down on an awkward tackle by Hughes after a gain of 8.
It's that inside zone game that Sean McVay learned under Mike Shanahan and then Kyle Shanahan, and I tell you, it fits Todd Gurley very well, and this offensive line is athletic enough to run it.
2nd and 2. Pass is caught by the tight end Everett. And they're going to get Gerald Everett more and more involved. He had a shoulder injury. It cost him about a month. during training camp, but Sean McVay told us after this week you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end and a lot of number 81.
Yeah, because up till now the Rams are, I mean, you can just set your watch to it. They're all 3 wide receiver sets. That's what they do. And with Gerald Everett and all the things that he's capable of, they had come into the year thinking that they would mix it up, use a little more 2 tight end, and like you said, he got hurt and they had to scrap it for the most part, but that'll be an element that'll cause a little confusion for some of these defense after all the 3 wide receiver looks they get.
It's a lot like they had in Washington with Reed. Here's a pass out to the edge for Cooper Kupp, and they love him. Second-year player and a 3rd-round pick out of Eastern Washington gets 8 as he's worked over by Mike Hughes on the sideline.
Well, now the Rams are going up tempo. And people who follow the Rams know Sean McVay's over there. He's talking to him on the sidelines, and this time they get up and snap it quick.
Gurley, a little stutter step. And he's got another Ram first down. Injury update. Here's Christina Pink.
Hey, Joe. Yeah, Rams in the red zone without tight end Tyler Higbee. Right now questionable with a knee injury, Joe.
So they're thin now at tight end. They've got a first-year player in Johnny Munt who doesn't see the field much other than special teams. We'll keep an eye on Higbee. First down, L.A.
Yeah, that Tyler Higbee, he's something else too. He was a wide receiver basically in college. He can create some, you know, you talk about these wide receivers, but he's a real threat at tight end.
Little toss to Gurley running left. Well played by this Viking D. And Weatherly out there to force him out.
You know, this is an area of the field for the Rams that if you evaluate them through the first 3 games, you'd say this is about the only thing that they haven't done real well. And you know, the 2 interceptions that Jared Goff has have been down here when they've been in scoring position. He had one last week and then one in one of the other games, and you see how they've done so far.
60%, 2nd and 7. Goff, end zone, Gurley, touchdown.
Threaten you in so many ways. First, he's going to move Harrison Smith, and then it's one-on-one here on Anthony Barr, and it's a mismatch. Todd Gurley, you see a little move there, and Barr's just expecting him to kind of run a choice route, a hook up or an out route. He sits on his heels. Gurley goes right past him, and those are the things that Gurley can do.
Ficken, who is replacing Greg Zuerlein, knocks through the extra point. These 2 offenses trade punches here in the first quarter. It's got a good feel to it, doesn't it? 7-7 in L.A. Would you like to know more about Kirk Cousins? Go back to 2012. He was a 4th-round draft pick. They liked him so much they drafted him the same year they drafted RG3 2nd overall after Luck. Named the full-time starter in 2015. Previous 2 years was playing under the franchise tag, and then, well, I think he played his cards right because he cashed in with a guaranteed 3-year $84 million deal to take over for Keenum. Hey, he was good enough to get him to the championship game, and now they want Cousins to take him to the next step.
Hey, it's been quite a ride for Kirk Cousins, and hey, the Redskins, after RG3's year that he had as a rookie, they fielded some offers. There were teams that were willing to give them a little more than a 4th-round pick, a 2nd pick, and they turned him down. I think they knew that he had a little something, and he has shown that.
I think you credit Mike Shanahan with seeing that talent. Fantastic coach, obviously, with the Broncos and Redskins, and a little reunion of sorts. Not only did Cousins say Sean McVay believed in Cousins before Kirk believed in himself, but McVay said, well, I'll go one better. I wouldn't have this job, you could make the case, if I didn't get to work with Kirk Cousins in Washington.
Yeah, you know, and Joe, I think the way that Jared Goff's rookie season started off, I think there was a part of Kirk Cousins that thought that, hey, he might land here in Los Angeles with Sean McVay, and then Of course, last year, the way Golf came out and played and performed at his level, well, that was off the table.
That's Diggs out there on the edge, and with the speed is able to get around Ramik Wilson and turn it into a decent play on first down of 4.
You know, and there were certainly some other teams interested in Kirk Cousins. The Jets were interested in him. Denver was interested in him. And then as a quarterback, you look at it and you say, okay, well, where can I go win? I mean, where can I have the supporting cast that allows me to do what I want to do? You got a defense in Minnesota. You got good skilled players. Offensive line still coming together. But I think he picked the right place. But for the first time, he's playing for a defensive head coach, which is a different dynamic.
Here's Dalvin Cook. He was able to cross the 30, a gain of 2. Yeah, that's got to be an entirely different feel. I mean, Zimmer's to the point where offensively, if you're John DeFilippo, Zimmer might not even know where the offense meets. Like, well, here, you handle that. I got the defense. A
lot of times the defensive coaches, defensive-minded head coaches, they have a philosophy and a belief that, hey, we'll play great defense and run the ball, and, hey, just don't screw it up. Don't you as a quarterback screw it up. And, you know, clearly he thought more than that. If you're going to go out and pay a guy $84 million, you're not paying him just to simply not screw it up.
Vikings converted 3 third downs on the opening drive. Here's a conversion, but a flag is thrown on the far sideline. It's not even in bounds.
Illegal formation foul. The tight end was covered on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
It remains third down. And boy, that's a killer. When you don't line up right, you convert on third down, and now you have to do it again.
Well, those are the things that are going to drive Mike Zimmer crazy, or any coach for that matter. When you have the pre-snap penalties and you just converted a third down and just simply not understanding you can't cover up the tight end. And now they're looking at third and long.
Final play of the first quarter. Pass is caught by Rudolph. What an effort, and he got it. A conversion on 3rd and 9, and it's been a good down for the Vikings on offense so far. It's Thursday Night Football, and we're back right after this. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. Now, if you just knew what went on during commercial breaks back there at home, it's just good, clean fun.
Yeah, a lot going on. First of all, I'm out of breath because I had to run a half a mile to the restroom.
God, I got no chance then. From the 35 on first down. Here's one for Thielen. What a catch, what a throw. Hops up. There hasn't been a whistle, or has there? And now there has been, and Thielen thought he might have a free run right to the end zone. He doesn't think he was touched. What a throw.
No, he's inside on the slot position, and so he just outruns Marcus Peters. He's got a lot of field to work.
Tell you what, I'm not sure he was touched. But they blew it dead.
I'm not sure you can review it. Well, you can't since they ruled it dead. But let's take another look at it. Might has got his hand on it, but is there a touch here?
I don't see it.
Nope.
I mean, if anybody would know, it would be Thielen, and he got up and ran to the end zone, and they blew it dead. Mike Pereira's with us. Did you see what I saw?
Yeah, it looks like in that sweep that maybe he didn't touch it, but remember, rule down, the ruling kills the play, so you really can't review that aspect of it because no advance would be allowed.
Well, that's not fair.
Darn.
Second down now after that loss by Dalvin Cook. Cousins out to his right, has Diggs in front of him. Now gets it to him. What a catch. He's incredible. The question is, did he step out before he got close to the first down marker? He's still short, but it looked for a minute like Cousins was going to throw it away, and he ends up delivering The pass good enough for Diggs.
Yeah, just the last minute, Stephon Diggs is able to get a little separation. There was nowhere else to go with the ball. Cousins was looking for someone else to work back towards him. They're usually pretty good at that, but Stephon Diggs gives him a spot. And you're right. I mean, this guy, we talked about Brandon Cooks. They remind me a lot of each other. They both have big playability down the field. They can work the intermediate routes because of their speed and unbelievable quickness.
On third down, Cousins drops it off. That's Ham out of the backfield, and he is short. Ramik Wilson, good tackle. And big C.J. Ham, 235 pounds of him, went down a yard short of the first down. By the way,
play.
Cousins, Troy, right now is 5 for 5 on third down.
Yeah, he's in a groove for sure. And right now, I like the decision by Zimmer going for it on fourth down. Ramik Wilson, he is playing because Mark Barron has been injured and has missed now the last 4 games, and he makes a big stop. We'll see what the Rams do here.
Fourth down and 1, and Cousins takes it and dives for the first down. Cousins, the 30-year-old, played at Michigan State, able to get underneath all those big bodies and find the yardage. Boy, Zimmer was happy to come out to L.A. on a short week, wasn't
he? Yeah, wasn't he? Well, and the hard thing, Joe, is that the Rams, they played at home on Sunday themselves. And even though the Vikings did, it's different when you're the road team on a Thursday night. I've always felt the home team for a Thursday night game should have to play on the road on Sunday before.
Here's Diggs, makes one man miss. Buckham couldn't come up with the stop, and no gain, but that could have been a big loss. And there's that offensive line, and there's that offense for the Rams sitting and watching with the rest of us.
That's exactly where Mike Zimmer wants them. And they, you know, both these teams, the Vikings take the first possession, they go down and score. Rams answer with a nice methodical drive of their own, and now here come the Vikings.
Tenth play of this drive after a 13-play scoring drive the first time they had it. Handoff to Cook with blocking in front of him. And that was Rashad Hill that was out in front of that play. That was impressive. The NFL celebrates youth and high school football year-round through Play Football, an initiative aimed at shaping experiences for flag and tackle participants, highlighting coaches and ambassadors who promote the values of the game and connecting the football community. To learn more, visit playfootball.com. Now 3rd and 2. Yeah. Cousins, pass is batted in the air and incomplete. A couple of players had a crack at it. Buckham made the diving try, and it's 4th down.
And it's probably a good thing for Kirk Cousins that that ball was knocked down, because Sam Shields was jumping this route. Number 37, it was Diggs who was running the route, and it looked like Shields had enough of an angle on that throw that he might have been able to undercut that and take it to the house.
37-yard try for Dan Bailey, who did not have an attempt his first week against the Bills. One of the best in the business when he's healthy, and he hits the upright and banks it in. Maybe the fortunes for the kicking game have changed for the Vikings. Carlson, the rookie, is gone. Bailey knocks it through. Vikings lead by 3. Well, about 10 miles from here, from downtown LA in Century City, the Fox Studios. 10 miles away, about an hour and 15 minutes in a car. That's the mothership. There it is. That's where all the magic happens every Sunday, on that building on the right. The mothership. There are executives crawling all over this place. with a Thursday night game in LA. Countess will down it in the end zone. Tomorrow, Last Man Standing is back right here on Fox. Tim Allen returns with a new home, new episode, same attitude. The season premiere of Last Man Standing, followed by the Cool Kids tomorrow on Fox. He's on our team now, and glad to have him. Good guy, talented comedian and actor. Here with his family down in the end zone to our right. Rams trail by 3. From the 25, handoff is to Gurley, cuts back, takes it to the 30. Even when there are people there and it doesn't look like there's any blocking or anything happening, the guy gets 5 yards.
Yeah, he has here tonight, and you go back to the game that they had last November, and that was one of the real keys for Minnesota winning that game, was they were able to hold Todd Gurley to just 37 yards in that one.
Play action to him. Goff floats, Kupp downfield. What a throw! Cooper Kupp. Goodbye. Touchdown Rams. No flags.
Really well-designed play. You're going to see Kupp looks like he's going to run a shallow crosser, and then he immediately takes it up the field, and he's running it against Anthony Barr. You know, so they're able to isolate the linebacker on Kupp, and he takes it vertical, and there's the big playability of this Rams offense.
And it's 14-10. They've got a good coach. They've had good scouting and drafting of late. GM Les Snead. He found Kupp. Goff just found him for 70 and a score. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Have we had some action down below here at the Coliseum? How about a 70-yarder from Goff to Kupp for the Rams' first lead of the night?
Well, Mackenzie Alexander is the one who's initially on Kupp, and I don't know if it's a bust by him or not, but you wouldn't expect that they would have Anthony Barr trying to run man for man with Cooper Kupp, but they catch him out of position however it happened, and one-on-one with him going vertical, it's just not a match for Barr to be able to stop him. And like I said, the Rams came into this game #1 in the league in pass plays of over 20 yards, and a big one right there. And Anthony Barr now on 2 touchdowns, 1 to Gurley and 1 to Kupp, has been the one in coverage.
We've seen 4 possessions. We've seen 4 scores in this game. Here's tonight's quarterback stat tracker presented by Domino's, and we look at the quarterback comparison. And it's worthwhile to do even here early in the ball game because a great start by both Cousins and Goff.
Yeah, both guys, and Jared Goff, he's got this 158.3, and that's as good as it gets. That's a perfect quarterback rating right now, but both quarterbacks playing exceptionally well, and this is shaping up to be quite a game.
A career long for Kupp, 70 yards, and the Rams' longest play of the year. Here's Diggs. Good blocking out in front. Beautiful play, and Diggs into Ram territory. A big play on first down of 33 yards to Stephon Diggs.
Well, they get Kyle Rudolph and then Rashad Hill. You see the block on Littleton by Rudolph, and it allows a little crease, and Rams trying to get off blocks. Marcus Peters, is he 100%? No. And you know, whether or not it's affecting him tonight is anybody's guess, but a short week, him out there playing with a calf injury, and they've gone after him a little bit, but he's unable to make a play on Diggs.
Cousins over the middle. Rudolph is all alone, and Kyle Rudolph is out of bounds inside the 20. Ramik Wilson was trailing a gain of 24, and Rudolph was by himself.
You see these 2 backers right here in the confusion and not being able to pass it off, and Kyle Rudolph comes across that and is just wide open.
No chance for Wilson to get there or keep up. Rudolph had ankle surgery over the offseason, off to a good start. And he's a big weapon here in the red zone.
Most of his touchdowns have come down here in the red zone.
Fake toss. Toward the end zone. Touchdown again, Robinson. But a flag is down. Vikings think it's against LA. If it is, that's the second of the night for Aldrick Robinson, who was with Kirk Cousins with the Redskins.
Well, I can tell you, John
defense number 37
did not
the penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
You got Kyle Rudolph and Aldrick Robinson right next to each other. I mean, that never happens. There's no pass route ever that's designed where two guys are going to be in the exact same area. Cousins just saying, hey, what the heck? I got two guys down there. One of them will come down with it.
Cousins is the one that told Rick Spielman, the GM, about Aldrick Robinson as they're looking for a third receiver. As Bailey knocks it through. Robinson and Cousins work together on the second team in Washington. They're on the top team with the Vikings. They've connected twice. Vikings up 3. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. And if you want to get people off that in LA, have an exciting team.
There you go.
And that's what the Rams have. And exciting is what you would use to describe the Vikings here tonight. What a start for Minnesota after a shocking result at home to the Bills.
Short week, no time to correct any of the mistakes. Sometimes that's good, you know. I mean, I remember sometimes we'd have a poor game and you just say, hey, coach, let's not watch this tape. Let's just put it away and get ready for the next one. Well, they didn't have a choice because of the quick turnaround, and it was probably a good thing.
Here's Countess on the return. Out across the 25. I have a feeling Barry Switzer was more amenable to that than maybe Jimmy Johnson was back in your day. Here's some sounds of the game so far this half.
Cover 3's playing over the top. Great job with your QB. Just keep pushing. We're going to make those plays now.
He's in black. Emotions over to white. All right, like he's making the 3-man circles over there. First of all, you got a 10. Yeah. And the ball's running that way on his own play.
Yeah, that ain't me.
I know, I'm telling you.
That's Bill Johnson, a veteran coach, working for Wade Phillips. And we thank the Rams, the Vikings, and NFL Films for providing that. From the 25, Gurley left side, cuts upfield, good gain on first down of 7. Anthony Barr on the stop. These two quarterbacks have combined for 320 passing yards, 5 incompletions, and 4 touchdowns. What a half.
And what a half. And, you know, these, like I said, coming into this game, if you really like or appreciate great route running by receivers, these two teams do it as good as anybody. With Stephon Diggs and Thielen and Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, they are awfully good. And these quarterbacks, they're throwing with great precision, and they're getting time in the pocket.
Second down and 3, heavy rush, and the pass incomplete. Tyler Higbee was the target, and Daniil Hunter got through. He was right in the face of Jared Goff.
Yeah, a couple guys were right up the gut. As soon as you say they're getting protection, Goff said not this time. He had 2 big guys right in his backfield, and I tell you that Vikings defensive front, I mean, they really kind of drive the thing, and they got interior guys, certainly with Sheldon Richardson and Linval Joseph, that are able to apply a lot of pressure.
Blitz coming from the Vikings on third down. Goff throws, pass incomplete. Cooper Kupp, who had the 70-yard touchdown, was the target, and we will see our first punt of the night.
Yeah, he had a chance too. A really good route by Cooper Kupp, and just a ball that, you know, one of the few we've seen that just got away from Goff.
Adam Thielen is back to return for the Vikings. They're without Marcus Sherrill, so their big receiver and Pro Bowl receiver Adam Thielen waits for the punt from the 4-time Pro Bowl kicker Johnny Hecker. Out of bounds inside the 30. Let's take a break. When we come back, Vikings will be out there leading by 3. Thursday Night Football continues, and we welcome you back. It's presented by Bud Light. 17-14, Vikings on top, and they have the ball back starting at their own 29. There's an injury for the Vikings that we will detail with Aaron in a moment. Here's Dalvin Cook. The Buchan on the stop. Aaron, there is drama with the kick and punt center for the Vikings.
Oh, yeah. Well, tight end David Morgan was just in on that extra point for the Vikings. He was replacing long snapper Kevin McDermott, who is questionable to return with a pinky injury. A lot of blood with that pinky. Word is he's getting it stitched up inside, guys.
Here's Cook. Got a big hit from John Johnson at the end. Corey Littleton first, a gain of 4, so 3rd down here for the Vikings.
Well, big 3rd down right now for this Rams defense. See if they're able to make a stop. The Vikings defensively on that last possession for the Rams, they showed that they could make a stop. And now the Vikings have had the ball 3 possessions. They've scored all 3 times. Let's see if the Rams can force a punt of their own.
Folker. 4 for 6 on 3rd down of the Vikings. Cousins in trouble, throws for Treadwell and just got rid of it. Big pressure by John Franklin Myers, a rookie out of Stephen F. Austin.
You got John Franklin Myers coming off the edge, and then you also have Aaron Donald, who's putting the inside pressure. Just a 4-man rush. On that previous possession, Wade Phillips showed that he started to bring some more 5-man looks, but on 3rd and long, 3rd and 6, he decides that he's going to bring 4-man, and he gets there.
See how David Morgan snaps this first time in an NFL game for a punt. Kind of a floater, and it was nearly blocked. It's going to take a Vikings roll inside the 30. Josh Reynolds, who is big, 6'3", almost got to that punt. Rams get it back, down 3. Well, we welcome you back to Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light. And that was a timely report from Aaron Andrews, and we'll tell you why. With the injury to McDermott, she said a lot of blood down there. Word is he might have torn the fingernail off that left hand, so Morgan had to snap on that punt. From the 29, down by 3. Here are the Rams, and there is Gurley. Gain of 5. So because of the injury and Troy with Morgan snapping, the punter was only 13 yards deep.
Yeah, typically a punter will be at 16 yards deep, and so he shortened it up to try to help out the snapper, and that's how close it got to being blocked.
That's why Josh Reynolds got so close. He didn't have as far to go. Now 2nd and 5. Just a 38-yard punt, by the way. Goff, Kupp, Alexander can't bring him down. Harrison Smith does. But a 1st down catch and run by Cooper Kupp for 12.
Good throw by Jared Goff, working out to his left and then giving a ball out in front of Kupp where he's able to catch it and run and still pick up that 1st down. That's what the Rams really do major in. A lot of play action, but also a lot of boots, waggles, get Goff out on the edges.
Fake it to Gurley. Pass to Woods. Flag on the play, and Woods down inside the 20. Trey Wayne's on the stop. Rams indicate it's against the Vikings, and it certainly looks that way. It is. 36-yarder will stand to Robert Woods.
Jared Goff, he had whoever he wanted on that play. He had the deep flag route.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 20. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's on Mackenzie Alexander, number 20. He was the one who was lined up inside on Cooper Kupp. You see him right there. There's the grab. And this is a guy who drafted in the second round 3 years ago out of Clemson, and he's been real inconsistent, and that's why they went out and they drafted Mike Hughes in the first round, a young player who had some mistakes, had to come in off the bench last week, but I don't know how long Zim's going to put up with some of these mistakes by Mackenzie Alexander.
Cooks might have gotten away with a false start there. They didn't throw the flag. Now in the end zone, Kupp! Come on! Touchdown Rams! What a catch! What a throw!
That's pretty remarkable. We showed some of the throws that Kirk Cousins has made here in this first half. How about this one? You got Trey Waynes and Mike Hughes both back there in a position to make a play on this ball. And Jared Goff saw enough to give Kupp a chance, and what a great throw.
Which brings up a point we might get into as Ficken knocks it through. Jared Goff has thrown for 193 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 to Kupp. What a half of football. Another look. And we'll be right back after this from Pizza Hut and Fox. (21-17), the Rams on top, under 4 to go in this opening half at the Coliseum, a venue that dates back to 1923, former home of the Dodgers. For Kupp, it's his first career multi-touchdown game. And it's his 3rd game of over 100 yards. Well, the new LA Stadium is in Inglewood, California. And it's more than 50% complete. Will be open in the summer of 2020. The new stadium will host both the Rams and the Chargers, as well as Super Bowl 56 in 2022. I saw Kevin Demoff, president of this organization. He said it's really starting to move now. It looks unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Here's one to the long snapper, also known as tight end David Morgan. Brought down by Wilson, a gain of 3.
Well, and you think about it, Joe, when the Rams came here 3 years ago and they were struggling. I mean, they had been struggling in St. Louis. They came here. It was not a good year. And, you know, this stadium was about empty. And now then they were building a new stadium. I mean, there was a lot going on. And it's amazing how far it has come. And that began, of course, last year and being a playoff team for the first time in so long. There's a real excitement here in Los Angeles for these Rams.
That's Mike Boone in the backfield with Cousins. Quick throw, and that's a rare drop by Thielen. You think about the fearsome foursome and the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, a couple of Hall of Famers on this list. Lamar Lundy, who was a converted receiver, Rosie Greer, Merlin Olsen, Deacon Jones. I mean, that's as good as there's ever been in this league.
Yeah, you know, I grew up a Rams fan. I grew up in Southern California until 8th grade, and Jack Youngblood and Vince Ferragamo and Fred Dreyer and Nolan Cromwell. I mean, Lawrence McCutcheon, I'd go on and on, some of the greats that wore the uniform.
To the sideline, and what a catch by Thielen. Just the ability to slow down on the sideline, keep his feet in, and wait for that throw, and a first down, defensed by Shields.
He has made himself into a terrific wide receiver, a guy who was undrafted. He came in here and he just worked his way into being great, and it has been fun to watch. And a guy who can really run and understands the nuances of running routes.
Born in Minnesota, went to college in Minnesota, a Viking Pro Bowler, and a great guy. Cousins out to his right. throws it away with a boot cam in his face. 2nd and 10 with 2:26 left and 3 timeouts for Mike Zimmer.
A lot of the play action passing game from both these teams. You're trying to get the ball to Kyle Rudolph. He had a chance. John Johnson, was covering, but there was some separation, and where Thielen is there, that's an awfully dangerous throw, and Kirk Cousins just throws it away. But so far in this game, there's been no sacks. There's been some pressure on these quarterbacks, but no one's yet gotten home, and the Vikings have got to be more pleased about that than anyone.
Rams only have 4 sacks to start the year. Hard to believe. Here's Murray with a beautiful little jump cut, but a flag is down. Back where Cousins handed the ball off was a carry of 7 yards, and it's a hold against the Vikings.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Christina, this is a pass rush that at times can make that fearsome foursome awfully proud for what's going on with those ram horns on the helmet.
Hey, Joe, yeah, slow start for this Rams front. Talking to both Donald and Sue before this game, they said, we've been content, but we have to be able to finish. Just getting to the quarterback, collapsing the pocket. He said, we're not doing enough, and we have to be able to finish those drives and get some of those sacks. Just 3 so far this season.
We're at the 2-minute warning, Christina. It'll be 2nd down and 20 when we come back. 21-17, LA on top, week 4. If you're just tuning in on Thursday Night Football, you missed a lot. 38 points, 449 yards, 397 of which through the air. 6 scores, 8 possessions before this one. 7 scores on those 8 possessions. Now 2nd and 20. 2 minutes left, 3 timeouts. Quick throw to Diggs, well played. Nikel Roby-Coleman sniffed it out. And a loss on the play of 3.
Yeah, that's really a great job by Roby-Coleman. That's the way you have to play that play. And you got to attack it right away. You can't let the receiver catch the ball and then get a blocker on him. And that's excellent work of deciphering the play. As soon as he sees the ball out, goes up and makes a play.
The Rams take a timeout on defense to conserve some of the clock. Well, they're the guys in the streets of New York. Stay tuned for the Toyota halftime. We'll talk about this game, the explosive Rams offense, and a preview of Baker Mayfield's first start. We were there on Thursday in Cleveland for his first relief effort, and it was something to behold.
I think Kirk Cousins just has to be smart here. Try to pick up as much field position as he can to pin this offense for the Rams deep. It's unlikely you're going to convert something at this distance.
Over the middle, Latavius Murray gets hit from behind by Westbrooks. In front of was Marquise Christian. The Rams spend their second timeout.
Yeah, well done. I mean, they pick up about 10 yards in field position and now just try to boot one. And this offense for the Rams is looked pretty good here in this first half. See if they can hold up and not give up any more points here before it ends.
So one timeout remaining for Jared Goff. There'll be plenty of time to get something going for this Rams offense. It's 4th down and 16. And Kevin McDermott, with the pinky on his left hand bandaged up, is back in there snapping it for the Vikings. Matt Wild, a punt. Almost got home again. And a fair catch by Kupp, as Bryce Hager almost blocked it. Pinky is off. Decent snap. And we'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Verizon. This drive will start at the 27 of the Rams as they lead by 4. Vikings showing blitz. They bring Sendejo. Pass is low. Flag is down. Catch is made. Cup. And it's a hold against the Vikings. And now another flag on the sideline. Brad Allen will have to sift through this. There's two different flags on this play. Here's a call.
There are two fouls in the play, both on the defense. Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 29. That penalty is declined. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 29. That 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
So you saw what happened out on the edge with Xavier Rhodes. That penalty moves the ball into Vikings territory, but yet again, a great catch by Kupp.
Yeah.
To secure that before going to the ground.
Well, hey, the guy's been talking about a productive guy going back to when he was in college. He set all kinds of records at Eastern Washington, and it has continued ever since he got here to the Rams last year. He had a great rookie season, and he's having himself a well of a ball game tonight.
First down, LA going for the whole thing. Cooks. Touchdown, LA. Brandon Cooks. Have a night, Jared Goff.
Joe, you see Jared Goff in the pocket, and when he double clutched this, you see he hitches twice. I didn't think he was going to have enough arm to get it out here to Brandon Cooks. I saw a couple weeks ago he was short on a throw. Cooks can flat out get after it, 4.3 speed, but he drops it on a dime for a touchdown.
Well, now there's time for the Vikings to do something about this. 47-yard touchdown to the newest Ram. He's only 24, 25 years old. They signed him to a 5-year extension. So they add him to the arsenal for Jared Goff and Sean McVay. And McVay over to talk to Cooks. Man, this is just something to watch. You know, Troy, you and I were at practice back in 2016 when the Rams basically went all in on Jared Goff. Carson Wentz ended up going number 2 overall to Philadelphia. But they make the deal, they draft Jared Goff, and you and I watched him at practice when we came out in 2016 out of that practice like, this guy can't throw the ball at all. And now he gets under the guidance of Sean McVay. I mean, he's lethal.
Yeah, that day he couldn't even throw a spiral. Yeah, I mean, it was a tough day watching him, and then he struggled, and you thought, well, you know, I don't know. Surely these evaluators know more than what we know watching him in one day. But, you know, yeah, hey, I can tell you, Joe, from experience, you bring in a guy, an offensive guy. I had Norv Turner. He came to the Dallas Cowboys in 1991, and it changed my life. It changed my career. And for Jared Goff, had they have continued to do what they were doing within the offense, a defensive-minded head coach, I can assure you we wouldn't be talking about him the way we are right now. But they go out, hey, and give Les Snead and Kevin Demoff and give them credit for taking a chance on a young, up-and-coming offensive coordinator and letting him be the head coach. And it has paid huge dividends for what they invested in that first-round pick.
4 first-half touchdowns for Jared Goff. Quick throw. Treadwell out on the edge, able to hang on as Peters tried to rip it out of there, and he gets out of bounds with that to stop the clock. And the Vikings have all 3 of their timeouts. There are the numbers in the first half. His 3rd career 4-touchdown game.
Well, that's more yards already than they had the entire game the last time they played against Minnesota. This is a pumped-up Sean McVay right there. Oh, hey, those bombs like that, they tend to get you pretty fired up.
2nd down and 4. Pass is gunned to Rudolph. Forward progress gives him the 1st down at the 41. Marquis Christian on the tackle. I mean, the Vikings are doing what they hope. They haven't looked bad at all in bouncing back from that disheartening loss at home to the Bills, but the Rams are just putting it to them. There's Diggs, nice catch with a bobble, but here's Minnesota inside Ram territory in a blink.
They're coming back, but let's talk about it. We talked about the struggles of the Vikings defense and you know, the problems that they've had. They've given up big plays in the passing game this year. That's something that didn't happen last season. They give up the touchdown down the field to Cooks. They couldn't stop people when it mattered most at the end of the season last year. And hey, Mike Zimmer told us the other day that we're not the 85 Bears, and we've got to clean a lot of things up, and that's proven to be true once again in this first half.
Still 3 timeouts left. You saw Trey Waynes walk off. He injured his right ankle a week ago. Able to start in this one. Nice catch by Rudolph, and he hops out to the 39-yard line, and inching their way into scoring range for Dan Bailey are the Vikings here on offense.
Yeah, and with 3 timeouts, clearly a lot of time here. This is whatever, any points that the Vikings could come up with here before the end of the half would be big in regaining at least a little momentum going in at half.
The Rams will get the ball to start the second half. And we'll see if they have Trey Waynes out there when they get it. 2nd down and 4. Cousins for Diggs. Broken up by Shields. And the former Pro Bowl corner for the Green Bay Packers even gets a pat from Stephon Diggs. That was well played.
It was well played. He was beat off the line, and Sam Shields goes up and he gets a hand on it. It looked like had he not have been able to, Diggs makes a catch before the safety. LaMarcus Joyner is able to get over the top. It's a good story like you talked about with Sam Shields, a guy who's been out of football for just about 2 years. Wasn't even a lock to make this team, but he has been leaned on heavily last week with the injury and then again tonight.
Timeout taken by the Rams. That's their final one before a 3rd and 4. You know, I wonder if you're Mike Zimmer, and maybe this won't even come up with the Toyota halftime coming your way. If you don't convert here on 3rd and 4, are you A, willing to send out your kicker, Dan Bailey, B, knowing you're in a shootout, maybe you go for it on 4th down with timeouts in your pocket and have a shot at coming away with 7 instead of 3?
Yeah, well, that'll be a decision. I mean, from here, they're within range of Dan Bailey. Now, Dan Bailey today is not the Dan Bailey of 3 years ago. So, you know, if you miss, you're giving the Rams some awfully good field position.
From here, it would be a 57-yarder. That's at the outer edge of range. Cousins finds Diggs, and Diggs gets popped as he makes it to the 35.
The spot looked pretty good.
The Rams think it's 4th down. The Vikings think it's 1st down. And they are, I believe the Vikings are going to call a timeout.
Well, it's interesting because if they were going to kick the field goal from here, Joe, you let it run down, right? But now calling the timeout.
Well, they're inches away. I mean, literally 2-3 inches from a 1st down. They've already snuck it one time with Kirk Cousins. You get it that way, you're going to have to use your 2nd timeout, but then you at least have a couple of cracks at the end zone and what looks like an eventual shootout here in downtown LA. With these two offenses going at it, I don't know that you settle for a field goal attempt.
Well, on the road this close, no, but if they fail to get it.
Good effort here. And a hit by Littleton, and Nickel Roby-Coleman knocked the helmet off the head of Stephon Diggs. And they're going to go and review this, which is a booth review, to see if they have the correct spot where Diggs went down. I'm with you. It looked like a pretty good spot. So when they look at that, we'll be back right after this from Verizon and Fox. Look forward to that during the break. Brad Allen said that it was indeed a good spot. So it's 4th and inches. They have to get the ball to the 35. As they load up in the middle, and Cousins has got it, and the Vikings will have to use their second timeout. With 25 seconds left, but at least they have a chance to get the ball into the end zone. 1 timeout, 25 ticks.
Yeah, they got time. They got plenty of time.
Let's recap this. Wish me luck. Aldrick Robinson with the touchdown. First of 2. There's Gurley with a first score for the Rams. Cooper Kupp, first of 2. There's another. And then this one to Brandon Cooks down the heart of the field. And a 4-touchdown first half for Jared Goff. That last one from 47 yards away. First down, Vikings. Cousins slings it, passes caught. Thielen first down, or rather Rudolph, who makes the rolling grab. And the Vikings will hurry to the line with under 15 to go. And instead of clocking it with a first down, they're going to run a play.
Rams playing coverage. There should be something down the middle of the field.
And now, because they took too long, that was a mess. They have to use their final timeout. They didn't clock it. So now they've left themselves with realistically 1 shot at the end zone.
Yeah,
if that.
They didn't handle that very well. I thought they would get up there and clock it right away. When they didn't, they get a chance to get it snapped in a hurry and get a play off, and they didn't do either very well. So now, with 5 seconds or with 6 seconds left, I guess it's now showing that they had no other choice.
Well, that was not well handled.
Nope.
And it'll be a 39-yard try by Bailey, who banked home a 37-yarder. He's 1 for 1. With McDermott snapping it. Good snap, good hold, good kick. And 2 seconds remain in an 8-point game. Weil received the snap, got it down, and Bailey knocked it through. There's been instability at that kicking position in the 5 years with Mike Zimmer. Forbath last year, Blair Walsh before him. They drafted Daniel Carlson in the 5th round out of Auburn. And Carlson, believe this or not, is the only kicker to miss from 39 yards and in across the NFL through 3 weeks, and that cost him his job when he missed that 35-yarder that would have won the game at Lambeau Field in week 2.
Yeah, I think that some of the things that were beyond Carlson's control that happened years prior, I think that probably
quick trigger.
Yeah, a real quick trigger. And hey, after that Green Bay game, Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer both, they made some moves that made you realize, hey, they are all in for this year and doing whatever's necessary, just like these Rams.
That's the end of the half. What a half it was for both Goff and Cousins. Toyota halftime is coming up. We'll step aside here in LA. Back to New York you go.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football scores.
Thursday night football. 1 half complete. Coliseum roars for the Rams. renewing a rivalry with the Vikings. One big play can make all the difference. Second half starts now.
That was tonight's Game Flow, presented to you by Progressive. You just heard Muse's brand new single, Pressure. The song was released today and will be on Muse's new album, Simulation Theory, coming out November 9th. Matt Bellamy in the group is bringing you that. Jared Goff, look at those numbers and what he accomplished. And Kurt Warner's here, by the way, in the stadium watching this. And Cooper Kupp, what a half he had. He makes the tough catches, but then when you see him, Troy, run away from defenders, go deep, make catches down the field, I mean, he can do all of it.
Well, they didn't really have an answer for him, did they? This one, they motioned him across the formation. They got Anthony Barr. He just simply outruns him. And here's the angle where he gets caught in an isolation on Barr once again. And that's not what Mike Zimmer wanted to see. Put the corner on him on this play, and then with the rollout, and Goff just throws a perfect pass with two guys in coverage. And you know, that's the beauty of this Rams offense, is that a couple of weeks ago it was Brandon Cooks. Last week it's Robert Woods. And then tonight it's Cooper Kupp who's having himself a day. And defensively, you know, where are you going to shade your coverage? And it doesn't much matter because they can beat you a lot of different ways.
Big numbers at the half. And if you're Mike Zimmer, a man who hangs his hat on that defense, the #1 defense from a year ago, both in yards per game, points per game, they have to come up with some answers. Countess will take a knee and will take you down to the field, and Aaron Andrews.
Well, what did Mike Zimmer tell us in his conference call that's been killing his defense? Big plays. What was he harping out coming out of the locker room? Big plays. That's what he talked about with his defense, and those penalties, telling me they're just absolutely killing us. He told his defense, stay on your guys. Also update cornerback Trey Waynes. He's being evaluated for a concussion, Joe.
Well, so that's different. He injured his right ankle last week, now a concussion. So that is a big guy on the outside, not available to George Edwards, Mike Zimmer, and this defense.
It means the rookie Mike Hughes is going to have to be relied on once again.
Here's Gurley pushing the pile and getting about 10. They're going to give him 9.5. Let's go down to Christina Pink.
Hey, Joe. Well, yeah, it's been big play after big play for this Rams offense, but they have to be able to keep their foot on the gas. Talking to Sean McVay, he said, I know Mike Zimmer is going to make some adjustments. We have to be able to sustain drives defensively. He said we have to keep them in tough down and distances and get off the field, Joe.
All right, Christina, thank you. We've seen Sean McVay react on the sideline, and why not? What does he dial up here on second and less than 1? Take a shot or just play it straight? They play it straight with Gurley, makes a man miss. That was big Sheldon Richardson, and gets the first down. A gain of 3, and as far as the possessions, just about every time a team touched it, with one exception for the Rams, they ended up in the end zone.
Well, look at the number of plays right here that it took to score those touchdowns. 11 plays, and they have 4 scoring drives, and they only had 23 offensive plays in the first half.
Goff, well protected. Pass is caught. Who else? Kupp down inside the 40. And there are no answers for Cooper Kupp. 27 yards with Kendricks on the stop.
Well, there still hasn't been a sack in the game, and this offensive line for the Rams doing an outstanding job, and Goff able to hang in the pocket, and then it's a zone coverage, and the linebackers, they just lose Cooper Kupp. You know, and usually the Vikings are better than that. When you're in the underneath coverage as a linebacker and someone comes into your area, you got to go pick them up. You don't just stand there where nobody is, but that was pretty easy pitch and catch.
156 yards, a career high for Kupp. Here's Gurley, and for one of the few times he's wrapped up with a loss on the play by Eric Kendricks. 2nd and 11. Talking to Steve Horn, our editorial consultant, about the age on this offensive line for the Rams. Andrew Whitworth, 36 years old, 4-time Pro Bowler. He's 4 years older than his head coach, John Sullivan, the former Viking, 33. This is an older offensive line protecting Goff. They're doing a good job. But they're built to win right now. And winning they are. Down goes Goff in the arms of Hunter. And a big play by this Vikings defense and Danielle Hunter.
Danielle Hunter, and it's Andrew Whitworth who is having to try to handle him. Hunter gives the speed move, and I kind of put that on Goff more than Whitworth. He had a pocket. He just doesn't feel it. He doesn't sense that Danielle Hunter is bearing down on him, and because otherwise he could have sure helped out his tackle and stepped up. But Danielle Hunter, what a player he is. He was more of a pass rush specialist when he first came in, and he's worked himself into being a great pass rusher. And Mike Zimmer yesterday said as soon as he develops an inside move, he's going to be unstoppable.
Here's Cooks, tripped up. Danielle Hunter, who just got the sack, is the guy that tripped up Cooks on the outside. If Hunter doesn't make that play, Cooks might still be running.
Danielle Hunter is that way. Really, all these guys are. I know watching some of the games that Minnesota has played this year, one time Linval Joseph was finding a guy along the sideline. They play awfully hard. Andre Patterson, their defensive line coach, I'm familiar with. He spent some time with Dallas back when I was playing, and he does a great job of that defensive front.
Rams pass on a 54-yard try by Ficken, who's replacing the injured Greg Zuerlein. Instead, Hecker is going to air it out. Downfield, Reynolds, and incomplete. Going for the jugular was Sean McVay. The throw by Hecker, who, by the way, is 9 of 15 as a passer. He was looking for his first touchdown in the NFL, and the rookie Hughes was there defending. Josh Reynolds, incomplete. Vikings take over. Back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light from downtown Los Angeles. Glad you're with us on Fox. Good game. 28-20. Vikings defense makes a stop. Rams go for a fake punt and a throw to the end zone that's incomplete. Cousins over the middle. Pass is dropped by Kyle Rudolph, and we go back to that throw by Hecker to Reynolds.
Yeah, I want to go back and take a look at this. You see Josh Reynolds, and I just didn't think in real time he made any real effort to go try to make a play on the ball. There was a little grabbing going on, but doesn't come back and try to just high point it at all.
Mike Pereira talked to us about what can happen downfield on a play like that.
And the interesting thing, John Fossil, a lot of trick plays on a scrimmage kick formation. If you throw a pass to either of the two gunners, you cannot have pass interference by rule. So even that grab of the jersey, not a foul.
Right. 2nd and 10. Cousins spins out of trouble. Will pull it down and go and dive to the 42. Went around. Aaron Donald got 6. A more manageable 3rd down coming up tonight after the postgame show. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce joins NFL Total Access to talk about Kansas City's red-hot start. How about their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes? That's NFL Total Access tonight after the postgame, only on NFL Network.
That guy has been on absolute fire. You wonder if he's ever going to cool off.
NFL record 13 touchdowns through the first 3 weeks for the second-year pro. 3rd down and 5. Blitz. Vikings pick it up. Pass is caught by Diggs. Strong play up front to block the blitz, and then a good pass from Cousins for 13 yards.
Really good route by Stephon Diggs, and the protection once again. And Diggs starts like he's going to run a shallow crosser, and then he puts his foot in the ground. You know, see Sam Shields just can't keep pace with him, and as quick as he is as well. But that was where Kirk Cousins was going all along. Once he knew he had the man coverage, it was a well-run route by Stephon Diggs.
Good block by Dalvin Cook on that blitz to pick it up to allow Cousins to find Diggs for Stephon's 8th catch. Here's Murray wrapped up. Donald is back there along with Matt Longacre. And a couple of players. Brockers and some of the Vikings start to shove each other. There's Aaron Donald, who Troy was the highest paid defensive player, and it was Donald who made the play for one day.
I mean, yeah. That's right.
Then Khalil Mack got traded to the Bears, and Mack slid right past him.
I mean, that's not even fair to poor Mike Remmers. I mean, Aaron Donald, with his quickness, he would about past him before he even got out of his stance.
2nd and 10. Pass is dangerous into coverage for Thielen, incomplete. Now 3rd down and 10.
Follow up. There is a lot of money being thrown around to a lot of guys around the league.
Clearly you were born too soon.
Well, that's what they always say. You're always born a generation too early.
Well, that's a pretty nasty hit to the headgear of Adam Thielen on the leg of Corey Littleton. They want to keep an eye on that. 3rd and 10.
It was a shot at John DeFilippo, and what a job he has done here in this game calling it.
Whistles before the snap.
Medical timeout on the field.
And that may be for Thielen.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. They're checking him out now, and they radioed down and said he needed to be checked out. He's not happy about it, but you know, I think that's a good job. I do. I'd like to hear what you have to say, Mike, but I think that's a good job by the league and the officials that are overseeing this.
There's the certainly hit. Agree with that. You know, Troy, this wasn't called by the officials on the field because they didn't see it, but the medical guy upstairs can do that. We'll be back.
Well, Adam Thielen is getting looked at on the sideline. He has 3 3rd down receptions for 1st downs. But the independent consultant from up above radioed down and said, get a better look at Thielen, who got that head against the left leg of Corey Littleton. So he's out. Cousins digs out of his reach. Some pressure on Cousins and the incompletion with Thielen watching out of the tent. That'll force a punt.
Well, a 4-man rush by Wade Phillips, and with Thielen on the sidelines, it was a no-brainer as to where the coverage was going to go, and that went to Stephon Diggs, and there were 3 guys there around him. Really nowhere for Kirk Cousins to try to fit that one in.
End over end punt. Kupp is waiting for it. He hauls it in just outside the 15-yard line. Rams will have it for the 2nd time this half, up 8.
Kurt Warner, just smooth. He's smooth, man. He's always kind of manipulating with his eyes and trying to move defenders. And when you think about the great Rams quarterbacks, and he's got to be at the top. A guy I definitely look forward to trying to chase.
Oh, he was smooth already. He owned my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. Kurt Warner, and for good reason, took over for the injured Trent Green, who grew up in St. Louis because of a preseason injury on a hit by Rodney Harrison. Dick Vermeil famously said, "We will rally around Kurt Warner," and said it with a tear in his eye, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year over the Titans. Here's Gurley trying to get him back involved, and Todd Gurley, who has a touchdown catch in this game, gets 9.
And we talked to Jared Goff yesterday, and I asked him what he remembered of that group, the greatest show on turf there in St. Louis, and he says, you know, I've heard about them, but you know, not a whole lot. He says, I guess my first exposure to them was Marshall Faulk was on the cover of the All Madden Video.
Yeah.
The Madden Video football game, and that was how he knew who Marshall Faulk was. And I don't know how you felt, Joe, but that made me feel pretty doggone old.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. I didn't like when you said, you know, I used to play quarterback, and he said, you did? Kind of a low blow. Here's Gurley. Spinning catch. Gurley breaking 1. Inside the 30. Hughes brings him down inside the 20. And a catch and run of 57 for the reigning offensive player of the year.
Now there's a penalty down. We'll see what the call is, but you're going to see Harrison as he comes up, and then nobody really there to pick up Todd Gurley off of that play action.
The penalty, Troy, may have happened mid-play. It's The flag is right around midfield, and the officials are getting together. At the moment, it's a catch and run of 57 yards, but these guys trying to figure out where to put the football as Roger Saffold shoves Sendejo in the back, and that could be where the flag came in. And it is.
There is no foul for an illegal block in the back. First down.
Well, they pick up that flag, and Mike Pereira is with us in the booth. Mike Zimmer can't believe it. Sure looked like a block in the back to me, Mike.
Geez, Joe, I got to say that it is. We saw that when we ran the first replay. You've got contact in the back that pushes them through the action. That is a block in the back, and no question they should not have picked that up.
But they do, and the 57 yards for Gurley stands. That's a big miss by this officiating crew.
A huge miss, and they didn't really miss it. You know, I mean, they had it.
Good point. Sure, Sendejo can't believe it.
Not sure Roger Saffold can believe it either.
From the 19. Malcolm Brown now in the backfield. Cup with Kendricks getting hurt on the play, and Cup is eventually brought down by Holton Hill. And Kendricks was grabbing his arm early on that play as Cup lost 5 yards. Second down at 15.
Hey, this Cup, he sure is exciting once the ball's in his hands.
Kendricks stays out there. And Gurley comes back in wide to the right at the bottom of the screen. Goff out to his left. Third down coming up.
Well, they have good coverage this time all the way around. They had Gurley out. That's one of the things that he does is he runs that quick slant, hoping to get the ball out and get it to him and let him run. But they pick it up pretty well, and once the outside pass rush took an inside release, it opened up that corner for Goff and makes this a more manageable third down.
3rd and 7. The play clock at 9. Goff surveys, backs up, throws it away. Over the head of Gurley. And that'll bring Ficken and the field goal unit on for LA. So Mike Zimmer's defense gets a stop. They had a call go against them on that possession by the Rams, and Ficken, who has taken the place of Zerline, who was hurt during pregame warmup a week ago, is against Arizona. Ficken was 0 for 1 against the Chargers. 1 for 1 here tonight as he hits from 34. And it's now an 11-point game for McVay and the Rams on Thursday night. The LA County Museum of Art on a Thursday night. Thursday Night Football is presented to you by Bud Light. An 11-point game now, 31-20. Rams trying to go to 4-0 for the first time since 2001. That's when they got to and then lost as a heavy favorite in the Super Bowl to a guy named Brady. That's when the world became aware of his greatness, and we'll see Tom Brady and Andrew Luck and the Patriots and the Colts next Thursday. So before the drive starts at the 25, here's a short message from Audi. Tonight's team leaders presented by Audi as well. We thank them for joining us here on a Thursday night. Goff, big first half, 4 touchdowns. Cup, 2 of them. Gurley with a big game through the air in this one. Adam Thielen back out there for the Vikings. They need him. Play action here from Cousins out to his right. Treadwell dropped it. And Laquan Treadwell, especially Troy with the emergence of Aldrick Robinson in this game with 2 touchdowns. He better figure it out fast.
Real fast. And I can only imagine the expression that was on Mike Zimmer's face. That was right over on his sidelines, right where he dropped it. And he's growing more and more impatient with that young man after the drops that he had against the Green Bay Packers. And you know, it's hard when you get into games like this and you rely on guys being able to make plays and simple catches, and now you're looking at 2nd and long and what should have been 2nd and short.
So Treadwell comes out. Robinson comes in. 2nd and 10, too high for Diggs. No flag as Diggs is looking for a penalty flag with Sam Shields on his back.
And you look at this. This was a pretty good release by Stephon Diggs, but good coverage by Shields as well. Ball high, and Cousins knows he didn't give him a chance. But you look at this game, and we talked about it coming in, and John DeFilippo talked to us about, hey, we want to stay patient with the running game. They ran Dalvin Cooks 10 times for just 20 yards, so they haven't had much success. Everything has come through the air, but it continues to put more and more pressure, not only on Cousins, but on this offensive line and trying to protect him.
Treadwell back out there on 3rd down. Here's Diggs, and on the deflection, what a catch. Shields almost came away with a pick, and it ends up in the chest of Stephon Diggs.
I'm a little surprised Shields doesn't make this play here. He's got his hands on it. Not easy. He's stretched out. He was a wide receiver at the University of Miami until his senior year, and he made the transition to corner. He's turned it into a 10-year career in the NFL, but what a lucky deflection into the hands of Stephon Diggs for a 1st down.
For Shields, his first start here tonight because of the injury to Aqib Talib since week 1 of 2016, when he suffered his 4th concussion and had to stop playing. Here's a high throw. What a catch. Stephon Diggs. Let's learn more about Sam Shields. Here's Christina.
Well, yeah, the symptoms of the concussion in that September 2016 season opener. He told me, I thought I'd never play again. He said, I thought my career was over, but the Rams gave him a chance. He came in this season and felt like he had to learn the game all over again. He said it's changed so much in those 2 seasons, but he's certainly a guy that feels like he's got to be out there and prove that he can still play the game, Joe.
And he's won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. Been at it a long time. He's 30. 2nd down and 4. Little shoulder fake. Here's Thielen wide open. Thielen, touchdown, Minnesota. "45 huge yards for the Vikings when they needed it most."
Well, the Rams go single high safety, and you're going to see Kirk Cousins in the pocket. This is what a veteran does. He gets him moving right there. John Johnson, and once he moves him out of the middle, then all he has to do is just drive the ball up the seam. That's a really, well, it doesn't look like much, but he gives Kirk Cousins enough of an angle, and he stays away from Sam Shields. But it's Cousins creating the space and the coverage by taking the shoulder and moving the safety.
Now the Vikings will go for 2. Try to make it a 3-point game. 1 for 2 this year. Fake it to Murray. Throw it to Murray. Got to plow his way in for 2. Right through Marcus Peters, and it's a 3-point game. How about the day for Kirk Cousins, Troy? We came on the air and you talked about when you hand somebody $84 million, it's to win games like this. He's thrown for 343 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and now that 2-point conversion to Latavius Murray.
Yeah, you can't ask for anything more from Kirk Cousins tonight. You can't ask for anything more from Jared Goff either. I mean, both of these quarterbacks, it's been quite a shootout between them, and it's just a matter of who's going to blink first. So far, neither have. Pretty impressive night. Both these young men throwing the football the way that they have.
Remember, Adam Thielen was told to leave the field when he got hit in the helmet by the leg of Corey Littleton. Came back in the game. The next possession ends up taking it in from 45 yards out. Countess. Full head of steam out to the 24. Well, Adam Thielen had a big year last year, over 1,200 receiving yards. He had 91 catches a year ago after 89 over his first 3 years. Here's that hit. He had to come out on a 3rd and 10. He was mad. Goes into the tent. And then comes back on the next possession. And from 45 yards out, fights his way in. 3-point game. Gurley, a cutback over the 30. He takes it for 8 yards. Daniil Hunter on the stop. Saturday, it's a college football doubleheader on Fox, starting in the Big Ten. With number 14 Michigan taking on Northwestern. Then number 11 Washington hosts 20th ranked BYU. Kicks off Saturday at 4 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. 2nd and 2. Play action. There's Woods. Another first down. Sendejo on the stop after a completion of 14.
Well, it's just that play action, Joe. I mean, it's Todd Gurley so good, and then you're going to see these linebackers. Look what the play action to Todd Gurley does to them. It gets them biting up, and then there's just no underneath coverage for those intermediate routes over the middle of the ball, and they tie it all in together. They'll come in off of that same play action. They'll run the boots to the left. They'll run the nakeds, and then they also have the screen game as well. It's not a real complicated offense, but it presents a lot of challenges for a defense.
Rams can gobble up yards in a blink. Another big carry by Gurley. Hendricks with a tackle. Another rush of 8 yards for number 30.
Yeah, it's just a well-designed running game, and then with the vision of Todd Gurley, he cuts it back, and they seal off the edge. And you know, he's had a heck of a day. He just hasn't had a lot of carries. They keep giving the ball. He's going to have well over 100 yards.
Xavier Rhodes just checked out. Woods with the catch and the hit by Sendejo. And how did Robert Woods, who starred here in the stadium at USC, hang on for a completion of 15?
Well, that's off the same action that they've been running the last 2 plays. So that then is the boot off of that. You get over pursuing defensive ends, and it opens up the edge, and then you're able to make those kinds of throws. They've just had their way with this Minnesota defense.
Wholesale movement before the snap. Under a minute and a half to go. Quarter number 3. Seam throw. Woods. Touchdown. It's been a game of big plays, and these two teams are trading haymakers here tonight in LA.
Watch Jared Goff. He looks off the safety this time. He gets him running all the way out of the middle of the field, and then Robert Woods up the seam. Just what we saw from Adam Thielen. Jared Goff comes right back with the same look himself.
Ficken knocks it through. And for Jared Goff, his 5 touchdown passes with a quarter to go ties a Rams record.
You see how Goff moves Andrew Sendejo all the way out of the middle, and Anthony Barr once again the one trying to run with Robert Woods, and I mean that's just stealing on both of the throws. The touchdown again by Kirk Cousins moments earlier, and now Jared Goff.
Goff with a career high 398 yards. The 5 touchdowns a career high. And the Rams are up to 463 yards. They've gained in yardage. They've gained in points every week, and they look like they're headed right back there. They've already put up the most points they've put up this season here tonight.
You know, we've been talking about this Thursday night package and how much better the Thursday night games were going to be. I mean, hey, have these two teams delivered or what?
It just this has been about as fun a game to watch. If you like offense, clearly the league does.
I do.
Well, I know you do. Zimmer doesn't.
No.
Wade Phillips doesn't.
It's time for them to do something about it.
How about some more sounds of the game? Jared Goff, Brandon Cooks on the sideline.
Great though. You like how I put a little bit of a line. I want you to run away from him a little bit.
Talked about putting that ball on that long touchdown throw to Cooks. The 47-yarder on more of a line.
Yeah, last week he underthrew Cooks on a deep ball, and it hung up in the air, and that's why I said when it happened, when he double clutched in the pocket, I wasn't sure going to have enough arm, but that's why he drove it flat to have enough arm to get it out there.
Here's Thielen back the other way. Shields on the stop. A gain of 14.
That little feature is pretty cool. I mean, you're used to it in baseball with the, interviewing managers and all that. And I'd like to see us try to interview some of these head coaches in game. But
I'd love to talk to Mike Zimmer right now.
To be able to hear what some of these guys are saying just moments after it's been discussed, it's pretty cool.
Under a minute left, third quarter. Murray gets it with a little room. Room shuts down in a hurry. A gain of 2. Ethan Westbrook's on the tackle, and if the Vikings want, they can let quarter number 3 expire right here, right now. But they know they have to answer, and the answer will continue in quarter number 4.
Yeah, and it's it's frustrating for a quarterback when you cut the score to 3 and then you come right back out on the field and you're down 10. You feel like you have to score every time you have the ball.
Oh, Wang Chung checks in. Everybody is having fun tonight except defensive coordinators. Back after this on a Thursday night in LA. We welcome you back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light, with our producer Richie Zients, our director Rich Russo. Colby Bourgeois pushing all the buttons down in the truck. Second down and 8 for the Vikings, down by 10. Rush gets home, and Donald's got his first.
Goes right past left guard Tom Compton, and like I said, a number of times we've seen Aaron Donald back there, and the moves that he's able to make, the quickness, you see the acceleration once he sees pay dirt on Kirk Cousins. And he admitted it. He's been frustrated that he hasn't had the sacks, and we've talked about it. He started other seasons slow, but that one looked awfully easy.
One right, I'm with you.
A loss of 10 on the sack by Donald. 3rd and 18. Cousins running away from trouble again. And out of the pocket is able to get it near the sideline, and Laquan Treadwell. 4th down and 18, and the defense, Wade Phillips' defense, steps up.
Yeah, well, Aaron Donald, so, what do you do? Last time it was one-on-one. This time they put 2 guys on him, and he just splits it. And then he's the first one to lead the charge to get back to Cousins. And, it's unbelievable how strong and powerful he is. Money well spent by the Rams bringing him back.
Sue got through as well. 5-time Pro Bowler on a 1-year deal, and there was some pressure. But the punt is away, and Cooper Kupp from inside the 25. Strong tackle by Jaron Kearse, but a flag is down. In that area where you typically see it against the punt return team, and it is against the Rams, it'll cost yardage. That throw right there is the only bad one from Goff all night.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 36 for the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
Here comes number 16. What a night. 5-touchdown night Back after this. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm on a night where we've seen 66 points, 851 yards, both quarterbacks over 350. 8 touchdowns between them. Look at what the Rams have done with their total yards each week, aiming for their season high. First possession of the fourth quarter, Gurley cuts back and ends up getting 1.5 yards. It is a quick week for the Vikings, Aaron, and some of that weariness may be showing.
Yeah, this will be interesting here in the fourth quarter to see, the short week, traveling over 1,900 miles to LA, see how this Vikings defense holds up. Xavier Rhodes was over on the sidelines before. He was guzzling electrolytes, cramping up over here. CJ Ham getting work on. I love a weather report. It has cooled off, though, quite a bit with that sun going down.
2nd down and 9.
Watch it, right up. Turn on, set.
Goff looking left and left alone. Cooks. So many weapons from so many different directions. 23 yards.
Now, I don't know if Xavier Rhodes is cramping up or what exactly is going on. I know Brandon Cooks can make you look awfully silly at the top of a route, and his ability to cut and get out to the sidelines, but he had Xavier Rhodes turned all around.
Well, we saw Rhodes go down, and now they're looking at him on the field. So we'll take a break. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. Never does traffic move like that in Los Angeles. Xavier Rhodes, they were rubbing his left calf, and you can see he needs a little help to get into the locker room. On first down, it's Cooks carrying it to midfield, and Sean McVay opening up the playbook. He ends up getting 10 yards. So many different directions, so many different weapons, and so many possibilities for the 32-year-old head coach.
They ran that jet sweep more than anybody in football a year ago, and they've done a lot of it here in the first 4 games of this season.
Goff, Cup, adds some more yards. He gets 11. Kendricks on the stop. The Rams are trying to go to 4-0. San Francisco, after having lost their quarterback, with a record of 1-2. Seattle coming off a win at home over Dallas. Arizona, it has been a rough start offensively, and Josh Rosen is taking over as the starter there. Jimmy Garoppolo is lost for the year for the 49ers with a torn ACL. Gurley. A gain of 4. If you're just joining us, this has been crazy from the beginning. So much offense. Rams seemingly able to go up and down the field at will. The Vikings trying to answer every time. Jared Goff is the first Rams 400-yard passer in 207 games. Mark Bulger, our buddy, the last to do it, week 4 in 2005 at the Giants. It's been a while. 2nd and 6. Some more yards for Goff. Cooks. Yep. And he is unable to stay in bounds.
Oh, man.
But they're going to mark him out at the 20, a gain of 16.
About that throw there by Jared Goff. He's been doing it all day long. You'll take a look, and they were quick strikes, and he was dropping the ball right on the money. You couldn't have walked it down there and handed it off any better in some of these throws. And on that last one, he was able to roll out to his left and put it right on the boundary to Brandon Cooks. But he's been able to manipulate safeties, move defenders. He has looked awfully good. Second week in a row, over 500 yards of offense for the Rams.
Over the middle, Cooks again, and he ducks a tackle to set up 1st and goal at the 6. What a player he is. 3 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Bright future here in this offense directed by Sean McVay.
We talked about it a little bit earlier with Brandon Cooks. We already seen him take a guy deep and his ability to go down the field at 4.3 speed. But because he is so fast, it opens up the intermediate throws at 15 to 20 yards. And then he's got amazing quickness as well. Well, you don't find that kind of combination of ability with many people, and they love having him here.
Why not again? Out on the edge. That ball is out. And a fight for the football. It was knocked out by Mike Hughes. Rams think they have it, and they do. Sullivan out there to get on top of it, I believe. There's Hughes with the hit. It was a catch and fumble.
Got his helmet right on the ball. There were two Vikings players right there with an opportunity. Stephen Weatherly, he was there, and Kendricks, he had a chance, and that's the play that the Vikings needed in order to keep from giving up any more points in this game.
Sullivan with a fumble recovery for the Rams to keep the ball. 2nd and goal, back at the 9. Gurley, good play. That's Richardson. A loss of 1, so now 3rd and goal. The schedule makers didn't do the Vikings any favors. They sent them to Green Bay week 2. They have the short week here on the road, having to travel the distance to the West Coast, and they are at Philadelphia next. That's a tough road.
It's tough. I tell you, for the Rams, it's getting ready to get a little tougher for them. 3 of their first 4 games at home. They've had their last 3 here at the Coliseum, and then they're going to have their next 3 on the road at Seattle, Denver, and San Francisco. So things are going to tighten up a little bit more for them.
3rd down and goal. Goff, end zone pass, incomplete for Kupp. Jaron Kearse was there defending for the Vikings, and a minor victory for Minnesota, stopping LA on 3rd down.
He still had a chance. I mean, even with really good coverage, you can just tell the confidence that Jared Goff is delivering the football right now. He doesn't feel there's a spot anywhere that he can't put the ball.
Through the majority of last season, until Carson Wentz went down with a torn ACL here in this stadium, as Ficken misses wide to the right, it stays a 10-point game. Wow. Wentz was thought of as the best young quarterback in the game, maybe an MVP. Jared Goff, man, as he made strides.
Watch your back. You better watch your back.
As we welcome you back to Los Angeles, little chip shot of 28 yards is missed by Sam Ficken to keep the Vikings within 10. Pass complete to Thielen. Out of the right hand of Kirk Cousins with Peters in coverage. Good for 14. Game's not over yet. Thielen, 135 receiving yards on the night, and that 45-yard score.
Diamond!
Cousins. Pass is caught by Mike Boone. And for Mike, that's his 2nd catch of this his rookie year. Here's tonight's game summary presented by Booking.com. As the numbers keep piling up for Jared Goff. You see the night for Kirk Cousins and Cooper Kupp with a 162-yard game.
A lot of offense, to say the least, but a good stop defensively by the Vikings to force a field goal attempt and keep it a 2-possession game, and then Ficken goes out and misses that. So they didn't get the turnover, but essentially it was like one when he missed the 3 points.
Here's Murray with a catch, and he's knocked down right at the marker. And they're going to give him a 1st down.
And you talk about the way that these two quarterbacks are playing, and Kirk Cousins, like I said, he's moving the safety and creating space for Adam Thielen then right up the seam, and then Jared Goff comes right off of that. He does the exact same thing. He moves Andrew Sendejo off the middle of the field, and then he drops one right in there on Robert Woods, and just some real fundamental quarterback play on display right now between these two guys, and it's been fun to watch.
Here's one gun to the outside for Diggs. Makes a man miss. Still going. Great effort by Stephon Diggs. Good for 20. That was Shields who missed.
Well, it's not, you know, he's not the easiest guy to get to the ground. He's awfully good once he has a little bit of space, but Sam Shields, you know, he needs to be able to come up and make that play to keep from the yards after the catch.
Cousins steps through trouble. Is going to run for a first down and more. Out of bounds inside the 20. Went around Nickel Roby-Coleman and got 19. That's a season long for Cousins.
Hey, nobody's going to confuse him with Cam Newton, all right? But this is pretty good. It opens up. They're in man coverage, and then he goes and takes it. At one point, I thought he was going to slide, knowing that there was still a lot of grass left out in front of him, but he tucks it and keeps it going, and that's a big gain right now in this ball game.
Stop the clock momentarily. It runs outside of 5 minutes to 5:16 and counting. Down by 10. Here's a toss to Rock Thomas. Fresh legs. And he lowers his shoulder into Marcus Peters and gets 5. First carry as a rookie for Rock Thomas in Jacksonville State.
I'm starting to forget what a running play looked like for these Minnesota Vikings. There hasn't been a lot of them.
Player down, and that's Ramik Wilson, who's playing for the injured Mark Barron. They look at him under 5 to go in a 10-point game. Second down and 6 for the Vikings as they will come to the line of scrimmage with the ball at the 14-yard line. That's Thomas, and that route was almost jumped by Marquis Christian.
Yeah, dangerous throw. Marquis Christian, they're in basically a 4-deep zone. It's one of the coverages that Wade Phillips likes to run down here, but Marquis Christian was sitting on it, and he was waiting for that throw into the flat.
In case you're wondering, the word from the Vikings sideline is Dalvin Cook is okay. We heard from Jake Laser before the game. He's on a pitch count tonight with a bad hamstring. So we've seen Rock Thomas, and now Murray in the backfield on 3rd and 6. Cousins sacked. Ndamukong Suh.
The push in the middle, and Ndamukong Suh coming off the edge. They'll move those guys all around. They put him at defensive end. They move Brockers inside. They get a matchup they like, and he gets home.
Now Bailey, who's 2 for 2, will try it from 40. Vikings have all 3 of their timeouts left, under 4 minutes to play. This to make it a 1-score game. Mike Zimmer is happy to have a veteran kicker, but he told us, I haven't seen him miss yet. And that continues into this 4th quarter here tonight. We'll welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck, along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. What a game. Both quarterbacks are over 400 yards, and now we'll see if the Rams can play keep away, leading by 7 with time running down.
Yeah, and now how big is the miss by Ficken there? Because had he have made that as a 13-point ball game, and then Zim on that 4th down is having to go for it. So now with it being a 7-point game, you know, you said it, this thing's a long way from being over. It's been a heck of a ball game. I can't say enough about these 2 quarterbacks and the way that they've played. It's been a long time since we've seen 2 quarterbacks in the same game play at the level that these 2 guys have.
Started to say it going to break. When you consider that in the draft in 2016, Goff was the #1 overall pick, and then the Eagles traded a bunch of players and picks, more picks than anything, to get Carson Wentz. Wentz played right away, looked great, was in the MVP conversation late last year when he tore his ACL here in this stadium. And the consensus was that, well, the Eagles got the better guy at the #2 overall pick than the Rams got at 1 with Goff. I'm not so sure. I think at some point you just say both guys are really good, and we are just seeing Jared Goff scratch the surface of what he can do.
I think it's like I said a little bit earlier, Joe. Wentz had the fortune of being with Doug Peterson, an offensive coach who really understood, you know, how to game plan and give him a chance to have success as a young player. Or Wentz had that. Goff didn't get that when he came to the Rams. And then once he did, he's been able to show what he's been able to do. I think a lot of young quarterbacks have come into this league without good coaching and have left the league regarded as busts.
Here's Gurley, left side, well played out on the edge by Curse. By the way, Xavier Rhodes, we're told, got a bag of fluids for his cramps, and Rhodes was out there on that first down play. A gain of 3 here by Gurley.
Well, the one thing we've seen from Gurley is, you know, his longest run is just 9 yards today, but yet he still has over 70 yards rushing, averaging over 4.5 yards a carry. You know, he's had success running the ball. They've just had so many opportunities throwing the ball in big plays, but this is going to be a challenge now, trying to slow down this Rams offense and give the Vikings and Kirk Cousins another opportunity.
Goff running away from the pressure. Goff ends up on the ground, and these days you look for the flag every time that happens. Sheldon Richardson with pressure with Danielle Hunter, and that stops the clock and brings up 3rd and 7. We saw worse than that flag for roughing the passer last Sunday in Seattle.
And then later we were told that it was the right call. If that was the right call, then that should have been called, and I didn't agree with either one of them.
3rd down and 7. Goff, quick throw out on the edge. Woods looking for the first down. His arm came down before he got the 35-yard line, and they're going to mark him half a yard short. It's 4th down.
Yeah, this is, you know, do you get up there and try to hard count him and see if you can't get him drawn off sides? I like how Woods tried to go get it. You know, he caught the ball and he did all he could to try to go get that first down, but
Minnesota just used their first time out. 4th down and inches, and what does the 32-year-old head coach do here? Backed up with the ball just inside the 35.
Well, it's, you know, the way that everyone looks at this anymore, I think it changed after last year and what Doug Peterson did. I mean, when you look at the Eagles, if they got to about this point, really it was more the 40-yard line, but right in this range, there was a 50% chance he was going for it on 4th down, 4th and short. And I know that Sean McVay's thinking they got a chance to keep the ball and run this clock out.
And they're going to do that. You see McVay talking with John Fossil, his special teams coach. Vikings need to stop with this highly regarded defense on 4th and inches.
Well, you're putting a lot of trust in your offensive line, and you're also putting a lot of trust in your defense if you don't make it.
They load up in the middle. Now the Rams take a timeout. The Vikings certainly think they're still in it. Just listen to sounds of the game.
Stay calm. We gotta keep going back to work, all right? Let's stay calm. All's good, right? All's good. Hey, keep going, man. Keep going, all right? Hey, they're gonna punt. They're gonna punt. We're gonna get a chance to go down inside the game.
3 veterans pumping up the sideline, from Thielen to Diggs to the first-year quarterback with the Vikings, Kirk Cousins.
You think Johnny Hecker will throw it again here?
I don't think so. He's 0 for 1 in this game. But 9 of 16 in his career, and he's got a big leg. of an ugly punt. He checks up outside the 30. And so now with 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and 2 timeouts, the Vikings get exactly what they need. A crack at it after just a 32-yard punt, a rare whiff by Johnny Hecker.
Yeah, that
was one of the best in the game.
He sure is, and that was not his best effort. And you know, hats off to the Vikings defensively and being able to force a punt for the Rams and give them a chance to go tie this ball game with plenty of time on the clock.
Go, 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 go.
Pressure again, and a sack for Aaron Donald. And he just throws Kirk Cousins to the ground, his second of the night. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning and give you a chance to watch number 99 do his thing.
Been doing it a long time. The game's on the line, and you got to account for him. There's just one-on-one. He's almost impossible to hold out of the backfield. He just went right around Tom Compton. It was no match.
A 4-time Pro Bowler in his 5th season. He's young, active, 27 years old, and power and speed. I don't care where it is on the field, it wins, and he's got both. Fast, and he's got power, and he'll be a Ram for a long time to come. 5-year deal, guaranteed money, the heart and soul of this group for Wade Phillips.
Yeah, he's telling those offensive linemen they don't want any of him, and I think they believe him.
Second and 18. The NFL is alive and well in Los Angeles. A lot of Viking fans here being overwhelmed at the moment by Ram fans. Second and 18. Extra men on the rush. Cousins to the sideline, caught by Treadwell. And he's able to hop out of bounds. Forced out by Roby Coleman, a gain of 9. 3rd down and 9, and they'll have 2 downs to get the 9.
Well, this time they paid a little more attention to Mr. Donald up there on that defensive front. They worked the center elf line to help Tom Compton over there.
Donald's fired up, so Sue. 3rd down and 9. Pass is gone to Treadwell. Cousins trusted him, and Laquan Treadwell with a big catch for 13 yards.
Yeah, not necessarily an easy catch either. He had to slide down to try to make a play on that, but that's where Cousins had to go with the ball. They're playing coverage, trying to work to the outside on Thielen and Diggs, and that opens up the middle of the field to Treadwell.
Cousins has his arm hit. Ball is out. Hit by John Franklin Myers. Rams say they have it. Right now it's ruled a fumble.
I think it is a fumble, Joe, and now it's a matter of who's on it.
Rams have it. Of all the guys, it's the rookie John Franklin Myers who knocks it out of Cousins' right hand.
We saw it last week. We've seen it a lot throughout Kirk Cousins' career. He's got room to kind of slide up, but he just does not feel that pressure coming around the other side. And what can you say? The better look, and he gets off the ball. John Franklin Myers, the rookie, and what a great job he does of coming around the backside and getting his arm out there and knocking it out. Kirk Cousins.
Riley Reef struggled a week ago against Buffalo, and Jerry Hughes injured his foot, was able to make the start, and John Franklin Myers just went right around him. Handoff to Gurley. Gets 10 plus. And there have been now over a combined 1,000 yards in this game. Cooper Kupp, he can do it all.
You know, Joe, I think all these guys can all do it all. I'm surprised the Vikings are not burning a timeout.
Well, they have 2 left. It's first down, barring the impossible, and it's even more impossible now. The victory formation. Now the Rams use a timeout with the play clock expiring. And these Rams are on their way to 4-0 for the first time since 2001. When the organization was in St. Louis, Kurt Warner was the quarterback, and they ended up in the Super Bowl to take on Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Well, they sure look good. There's still a lot of football left to be played, as we know, but this offense, when you put up the kind of yards that they put up tonight, as well as last week, and that win over the Chargers, it doesn't matter who you're playing, and this defense they're playing has been a good defense. They got a lot of question marks, a lot of things they've got to be able to work through, but this Rams team and Sean McVay, what a job they have done.
With his defensive coordinator, 39 years, his senior. And Wade Phillips' defense made some stops in the 4th. Sean McVay's offense was on display from the get-go. And the Rams moved to 4-0. And the Vikings to 1-2-1 with a road date at Philly coming up. Coming up next is the Buffalo Wild Wings postgame show. Final score 38-31. Rams remain undefeated. And we thank you for watching Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light. What a night in LA.